Hello, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Austin, South by Southwest. Today, we will not have Michael Musselman on as we're doing this as a live session in Austin right before we kick off the South event. My name is Barlis. This is Tim. And if you've been paying attention to our podcast, this is number 13. So welcome to the dark arts of being in Caddyshack and number 13. I'm going to have Tim give us a little overview on what he does and who he works for, and then we'll jump right into it. Tim?
Sure thing. Hey, nice to meet y'all. Tim Ashford, a 3-year veteran at managed detection and response company Red Canary. We are one of the leaders in the space, according to Gartner and Forrester, and essentially we sit on top of the AWS platform and provide threat detection and response services for close to 1,000 customers and have been in business. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. So
very nice.
Exciting milestone.
Yeah, really, really good. So, Tim, where have you worked at before?
Sure. So I've been in the finance world quite a bit. Was at a small money manager, and then most recently, before Red Canary, was at the big hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates.
Fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit more about Red Canary, and then I'd love to jump into what brought you into this line of work altogether?
You bet. So Red Canary in particular, we were really one of the pioneers of managed detection and response back when EDR was brand new. So when Carbon Black got launched in around 2013 or so, customers said, "Wow, we're getting all this great new data out of the endpoint, but we don't know what to do with it." We said, "We got you covered." So our 3 founders who were still with the company
that's nice.
basically built from the ground up a platform that would do that ingestion and publish confirmed threats on behalf of customers. So we built out our value from the endpoint side, but we've since branched out to cover cloud workloads, identity, SaaS, and so
on. Fantastic. And you guys do have a great story at AWS, and Caddyshack being an AWS-centric program. Can you give us a little background on your relationship with AWS? Like, are you on Marketplace? Are you on easily found?
Exactly. So we started to realize just over a year ago that AWS was such an incredible place to co-sell and to co-market. And so essentially working with counterparts over there at AWS, we said, let's get on Marketplace. We're on Marketplace. Let's figure out how we accelerate. We got an ISVA. And so we've even got an ACE integration now, which essentially means that our pipeline marries to the AWS pipeline. And yeah, it's been an amazing run in just about a year.
Very nice. Can you give us, I'm going to throw a little softball at you. Can you tell me what is Red Canary anyway? Where did you guys come up with a red canary as opposed to like a yellow canary or a blue canary or a gray? Or what about like a red, I don't know, bald eagle?
Sure. I love telling the story. So our founders were, they're very thoughtful about the canary aspect, because you have a canary in a coal mine, it tells you when there's danger, right?
Yep.
Red's a good color because red indicates danger as well. But the funny story is right before we were about to get our first seed round of funding, which has been very successful since, they didn't have a logo. So they scrambled around at midnight to find something and basically grabbed something from PowerPoint, only to realize later that it was actually a finch, not a canary. We fixed that recently. We now have a legit canary. Look at our new branding on YouTube and LinkedIn and so on. It's great, but they love to tell on themselves about that. So
nice. That's pretty interesting. I've had a couple of founders have some similar issues with, sometimes naming and putting their logos, and even Caddyshack's logo and stuff like. We've done some things. It's changed over the years, the Caddyshack and the Awesome Partners logo, but it becomes a little different when other people are getting to see it. Because if I had my choice, I would pick like a Mandalorian with like a Wookiee, like something like that.
That's on brand for you.
Yeah. I get it. But Disney will not let
they wouldn't let you do it. Yeah. But so aside from just the branding and the what we project to the world, essentially what I'm most proud of is the fact that we provide such excellent detection on top of major workloads like Defender and SentinelOne and CrowdStrike and Palo Alto Cortex And so customers get that unique added value of both published confirmed threats, but also expertise to guide them on how to respond. So yeah, we've really helped to lead the industry.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I love to hear that. Can I, maybe this one might be a little bit of a hardball question, but can you tell me what is the difference between you and your next competitor? Like, what is that 1 inch difference that everyone can hang their hat on and say, you know, I use this, but I know Red Canary does this better than anyone else in the world?
Sure. So I would say here's 2 questions to ask our competitors when you go head to head with them. If you're a customer, say, how frequently can I access the experts? Oh, and by the way, how much experience do they have? Ours have a minimum of 5 years of experience. Those that you'll talk to. Each one that'll talk to you about the threats. How much access do you actually have to them at no additional charge? And what does your platform do behind the scenes? Does it pass along alerts, or does it actually add bread and butter detections from the zeros and ones, the data that's being emitted right from the tooling? We've done that since the beginning. We've always had a platform that says, don't tell us the alerts, just give us the information. We'll call balls and strikes on behalf of the customer. And that's a real difference because most platforms, most MSSPs, MDRs don't.
That's a fantastic differentiator. Coming from a security background myself, I can tell you that's a fantastic program. Only because I know how many times people get a hold of somebody in a call center and they don't really know what they're doing, or they've only been doing it for 6 months, or you can't get a hold of anybody, or it's all automated. Either way, it's fantastic that you guys have that. Can you tell me how you guys are sourcing these folks with 5 years plus experience? It's got to be tough.
It is hard. I think we have very good retention. I can't tell you what the numbers are, but when employees sign up to be a threat hunter, to be a detection engineer, we don't lose them. We keep them, and they refer friends. Like, we have a lot of folks who'll see new canaries coming in saying, my friend or a person I knew, you know, told me the value of working here. But yeah, I mean, I think folks who do what our threat hunters and detection engineers do have a sense of ownership that you don't always get other places, because you're not only fielding the data and the potential threats, but you actually get to design the new detections and the changes to the system. So there's a sense of ownership that I think is unique, and I think that keeps those folks sticking around.
That's fantastic. You know, I always like to see that when security people stay in one place, that must mean they're very happy because they're in demand. So if you're holding on to your security folks, that must mean that the culture inside Red Canary is very nice. Well, can you talk to me a little bit about the culture of Red Canary, so that maybe this podcast might be able to bring you in that many more people to be able to refer?
You know, I'm going to be a little selfish here. Like, I have never worked a place that I liked better in terms of the culture, and it's because we don't aspire to our values, but we actually figured out how we were living and then just codified it. So whether it's be kind and authentic, be relentless, do what's right for the customer, deliver quality, those are our core values. Those are things that come out of the way we've always operated. And so you'll find that the way we treat each other is very kind across the entire spectrum of, you know, differences on one side or the other. Customers rave about the kind of support and the kind of expertise they get. And it's quality. I mean, it's genuinely quality. If anything, sometimes I complain that our founders could be even a little more aggressive in promoting valuable do.
Nice. Does Todd Bice working at Red Canary have anything to do with the awesome culture of the company? The fact that Todd is just such a phenomenal human being.
Absolutely, Todd would be my boss, but yeah, he's driving the new initiative to really build out channel and just, you know, to make our alliance partners and the work we do with them even more strategic. So yeah, he's been leaning in hard, just only 6 months in, but doing a great job.
Fantastic. I love to hear all of that. Everything you're saying is really, really awesome. I'd like to find out, you know, what we've talked about the differences of Red Canary and competitors. Could you maybe go into a little more detail about your processes? How are your processes a little different? You said that folks can have access to someone who's had 5 years or more, and that they should be able to reach out to you without any problems or issues.
Right.
Can you reach out to how, or talk, I don't know if you can, being in security, can you talk to us about processes of if an incident happens?
You bet. So again, what's great for customers is we're able to work across a lot of different workloads. We're not biased toward, let's say, your Sentinel-1 only, CrowdStrike only. In fact, if you have a large enterprise, sometimes you've had acquisitions where you might have a heterogeneous environment. In that case, we got you covered. We can ingest from a variety of workloads, and increasingly cloud workloads. We just recently announced we're working on all three clouds, GCP, Azure, and obviously AWS, which is our most mature integration. But so customers can get the value of the ingestion. All of that data gets processed on the AWS platform. And what I'm most proud of that we do with that data is reduce false positives. So we have over a 99% false positive reduction rate. So when we go to ingest that data, we next adjudicate on it and say to a customer, hey, this looks threatening or risky or not. And customers know that the reliability of what we publish is so good that they need to jump on it.
Yeah.
They have a couple of options. They can say, let's automate a response. We know this is known bad. We've seen this before. Do X thing with that threat, especially if it's after hours or weekends or that type of thing. They can say, hey, Red Canary, you guys take care of this fully for us. We want you to be in charge of what we call active remediation. That's another possibility. Or for some customers, it may be, look, we have a security operations team. Once we've heard from Red Canary, we know it's serious, we'll take it from there. So they have all three options.
But you guys can remediate yourselves.
We can.
Go in, go behind the firewall.
We can.
Make changes that you need to make and hopefully get rid of any kind of threat actors that are in the system.
Yep. Now that active hands-on keyboard remediation is an additional charge, but everything else, the published threats, the access to the experts and so on, that's 24/7 without any conditions. You want to talk to an expert at 2 a.m, you can do it.
Would that be you answering the phone call?
No, thankfully it is not.
Yes, that's that. Please don't call me. So having said all of that, the processes sound 100% fantastic, and you guys, I'm sure, log every keystroke when you're behind somebody's firewall, helping them remediate. Which way would you say the security industry is going? And so to step back from Red Canary and just to understand your knowledge of what's going on in the world.
I think, again, it sounds overhyped, but it truly isn't in the security space. AI is going to be a game changer. And the analogy I like to use, if you're a thrill-seeking nerd like I am on the film front, you like Pacific Rim movies and you see a 6-foot-tall guy climb into a 50-foot suit and take on Godzilla. To me, that is the best metaphor for AI. It's taking a SOC operator, which could be internal to Red Canary or external to a customer, and you're making them so much more productive and able to get to resolution so much faster. So we're really excited about the possibilities of AI, not because it'll replace humans, but it'll augment them.
Very nice. That is kind of interesting. AI is the word of the day. We are definitely using a lot of AI and everything. I know that I wrote a children's book using ChatGPT and published it using AI movies and videos. But so AI is definitely not going away anytime soon. I'm glad that you see the value in it moving forward in the security industry. I have another question. So how would you think is a good measure of a security company, right? Because as we know, a lot of customers come to security folks who want you to do all of this stuff.
Sure.
But it's kind of like almost like paying insurance. Like you don't really want to have to use it, but you're very glad that you have it when it's there. How do you show, quarter after quarter value? If you're stopping all of the bad guys from coming in, how do you show your customer that this is the value quarter over quarter?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is we have this one chart that we show customers that basically says, okay, here's the ridiculously massive amount of data that we start with and we ingest from you. Here's how we reduce that down with automations, with machine learning and so on. And then here's the amount that goes in front of 2 humans every single time we publish a threat. Oh, and then here's what actually gets to you. So I looked at one of our largest household name customers the other day and took a 3-month view of how much data we ingested. It was petabytes of data, just absurd amounts of data. And the number of confirmed published threats that went to that customer was about 53 over 3 months.
Okay.
So you might say, well, is that really demonstrating value? Well, heck yeah. If those are legitimate, scary threats, I don't care if there's 53 or 4. They all need your attention. Absolutely. Pretty valid, right? But in addition to that, I think the way you measure a good security program is what are they pulling together? What are they correlating where are they connecting dots across the spectrum? So in our case, we have original threat intelligence. We published the threat detection report, which is coming out, I want to say any day now. It's one of the best in the industry. It's 150 pages of actionable content from our threat experts led by CADy, one of the best in the world. So that corollary to the data we're ingesting, to the threat experts who are doing research and development and so on, that kind of like triple play is probably a great way to measure whether a team is giving you value, because they're looking at things across the spectrum and putting things together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the fact that you can drop it down to 53 if it's a large company, 53 threats for the year is really phenomenal. When I was working at the security assessment, the SAIC program for a different company, and at SOC, I was of course just an alliance guy, but I did get to see a lot of the different things that were coming through. And one of the biggest problems we found from other folks was that their WAF was really checking, or that they had constantly being told, oh, you need to do this, oh, you should do this, or oh, this is happening. So the fact that not only can you guys stop it, get rid of all of the minutia of like the silly things of people doing, but then on top of that, if something actually is real, you can remediate it. So it seems like you guys the best of all the worlds. I would think that it's fantastic, and we're happy to introduce this company to anyone asking about it at CADy. I'm going to step back and make it a little more personal.
Sure.
So, can you tell me? I don't know if this is what you wanted to do with your entire life,
right,
when you were like 15 years old, and you were like, you know what, one of these days, I want to be just like Todd Bice. Like, I'm sure that was what was going through your brain at the moment, but like, how did you end up here?
Yeah, so I realized as a sysad, and I think that's a great path, by the way, to cyber, because you really understand the nuts and bolts of networking and operating systems and other disciplines. I realized that I wanted to reinvent myself about 10 or 15 years ago. And cyber just seems so exciting. It's evolving quickly, great talent is involved, you're solving real world problems. And to me, getting out of bed every day with a sense of purpose was really important. Cyber has attracted an unusual amount of people who care about doing the right thing and making the world a better place. That always drew me. I started out in SANS, which I highly recommend. The courses are great. The instructors are awesome. Started down the path of a master's program, and then landed a job at Bridgewater, which was incredibly demanding. Read the book. There's a bestseller out right now on the culture. It's kind of crazy. But it was awesome to be around super smart, world-class people who would challenge me every day on how to think deep when it came to cyber. So fast forward, joining Red Canary, my initial role was building the technology partnerships with our key partners like Microsoft and CrowdStrike and so on. And I found that the kind of the interplay between the human element, building relationships with a technology underpinning was like my jam. And so now I can't tell you, I mean, it's my favorite thing, like just being able to say, hey, we're building out our partnership with Wiz on top of AWS or any given partner. There's a technical understanding, and there's also just a plain old relational side to it. So to me, being in that technology alliances kind of space is the best of both worlds.
That's fantastic. I love to hear the stories kind of, especially since we have a lot of people that watch these events. They want to become Cloud Alliance directors. So we've got a very loyal following for our podcast. Even though we're on number 13, we have people come to us at every summit, and they thank us for the information we give up on this. There's something that I forgot to do at the very beginning, which usually this is Michael Musselman kind of brings that up, but we usually ask 2 questions for all of our guests, and then I'll let you get back to what you're doing today. So the 2 questions are, if any car in the world could be yours in your driveway today, money was no object, what would it be? And then the second question—
My kids ask me that all the time.
Well,
go ahead.
The second question is, if I published your iTunes playlist right here, right now, during our South event in Austin, which one would be the most embarrassing for you to show the entire world? I'll tell you, mine is, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. My kids use my iTunes. That'll be my excuse for today. But can you answer the 2 questions?
Yeah. So I'll start with the car. Like it's funny because I'm really debating my next vehicle right now, and my kids are like, Dad, I have a couple of kids. They're like, Dad, stop being so practical. You got to dream big, you know,
Yes.
forget money, like just dream. You can come back to earth after that. And I just can't seem to get my headspace around that. I don't know why, but I'm leaning towards maybe a Tesla Y. It's not exactly a dream car, but I mean, there's a lot of things to like, right? So
Do you like the
that
Tesla
may
Y?
be where I end up
Very nice.
musically. I feel like sometimes I just default to like something like a silly like "Can't Stop the Feeling" with Justin Timberlake. You know, like something that just gets me hyped. You know, so I do like music that's got a positive, you know, infectious vibe, and you know, I'll throw in some '70s and '80s disco too. It kind of dates me, but I will.
70s radio disco. You got me. I'm all about staying alive.
Staying alive, man.
Staying alive, little Bee Gees action.
Bee Gees.
You know, I might even go as early as "I'm Henry VIII, I am Henry VIII, I am, I am." You know, I love that as
There you
well.
go.
So we can make that all happen. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah, man.
Tim, for your time. They're getting pretty loud in the setup for our event. So stay tuned for the video for the South event number 3 by Caddyshack. This has been Tim from Red Canary, and this is Barless from Awesome Partners signing off, and we'll talk to you during the next podcast. Thank you so much.
That was so fun.